Hey everyone, welcome back to Like Isaiah. This is my second video. I don't plan for this one to be as like dark and emotionally like as the previous one. This one's gonna be a little bit more lighthearted, and this is gonna be talking about a time where I cheated in one of my relationships. Now, I've only ever been in three relationships. I only claim three relationships. Now, of course, I've had in betweens, but at my age, which I did not graduate high school yesterday, I've been in three serious, I would say, relatively long term relationships. Um, and this is actually going to be the second relationship, and this was kind of like the relationship that brought me out, kind of a thing. I was in my early 20s. Uh, we did live together. Oof, but yes, I'm not condoning it. I'm just trying to be my authentic self, and I'm trying to be honest about, my experiences, because I'm not one of those people who go around and, I've never done anything. You know what? Let's talk about that for a second. Don't you find it annoying when you like getting to know somebody and like they say they've been in a long-term relationship and you ask them and you say, "Well, why did y'all break up?" And then they say everything that the other person has done. And then like I don't know about y'all, but I typically ask, "Well, what did you do?" You know what I'm saying? Well, what did you do in a relationship? And they never want to say what they did. Like, it's always like, well, I did this because, no, what did you do? Because if you're saying you didn't do anything, especially if you're saying you didn't do anything, that would mean that you're perfect. Oh, so you were perfect in that long term relationship, huh? That's nonsense. That people aren't perfect. So you in a relationship, something happens. Something happens. It may not be at the same time. Anyways, okay, so yes, I was a young spring chicken. I would say I was probably about 20, maybe 21 or 22 when this happened. It's actually really funny. And we're cool now. We're cool now. We're not together anymore. This is my second boyfriend ever in my life. We lived together. We were together for about 2 years. No, over 2 years, about 2.5 years. So, okay, I'm gonna tell you why I did it at the time. I'm not saying this is okay. I'm not saying like like you know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to give an excuse. I'm just saying what was going on in my mind at the time, because things in our relationship changed really really fast. Like it changed really really fast. I think me personally, he got comfortable really really quick, and he was actually a year younger than me, but he got comfortable really really quick. He gained a lot of weight like in a short time. I'm not gonna say like he was obese, but he gained a good bit of weight within the short time that we were together. And I remember even saying to him like, you getting the gut. So, and I mean that's his. I mean the reason why is his story to tell, not mine. But I'm just telling you from my vantage point why I felt like I why maybe I did it. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so don't come on here trying to tell me about something I did a lot of years ago. You know what I'm saying? So, I felt the time he had gained weight, and I just wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't as physically attracted to the person that I had fallen in love with. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't no longer physically attracted to that person because, like, that big of a change like that in a small time is, I don't call it shallow, call it whatever you want to call it, but that's, anyway. So, I was working at American Eagle at the time, part time, and ironically, the guy that I cheated on him with, he was white. He was a white guy. Comes up to the register, and I don't even think I even told any of the employees or anything at this. This is my first time even telling like this story in general. Gave me his number, right? So I held on to the number, and I held on to it for a while. Like I didn't call him like the next day or text him the next day. It had been a while, held on to the number, and it was just one of those days where like my boyfriend, he was at work at this time. We were living together. At this time we were living together, so he was at work, and I was just kind of like, I flip out the paper or whatever, like a fortune cookie, and I'm looking at the number, and I'm just kind of like, huh. So I ended up hitting up the guy. I ended up hitting him up. And he was actually like an older white guy too. Like I said, I was in my early 20s. He was like in his late 30s. So, you know, now looking back, it was obvious that he wasn't trying to like date me. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't trying to date me. He just, I was a nice little twink, fearless, not fearless, but hairless twink, and probably naive. So, okay, I guess I would have been the easy pull. maybe. I get it. Texted him and right away, like he was with it. He was with the shits. And like I said, I wasn't trying to have really an emotional anything with anybody else other than, my boyfriend at the time. I wasn't trying to do that. And so I go and I do my thing, get ready. And while I'm doing it, now that I think back, it was like a rainy day. It was very overcasty outside. Like the day was just very like somber and like dread and bleak. That should have been a sign that I didn't have the emotional intelligence at the time to kind of pick up on like, you may want to, but you probably shouldn't. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So I make my way knowing that, I'm getting ready to cheat on my boyfriend. I didn't even tell him. I don't think I even told him at the time that I had a boyfriend. Just being honest. Because it's all about the dog in me. Get there or whatever. And like, he asked me like a few things. I remember I sat there for a little bit. Um, I don't know if I can't remember if I had a drink or not. I probably didn't drink like how I drink now. I wasn't doing that back then. I remember him asking me like if I like poppers and stuff like that, and I was kind of like no because I was kind of really wet behind the ears. First of all, I didn't even know what poppers were, so I wasn't going to do something without really even knowing what it was. Um, so we ended up hooking up. And after it was done, um, I went back on my merry way, and I went back home. And like I said, I can remember just feeling like, damn, did I really do this? Like, I can remember feeling that way while driving back home. I took a shower and then boom, my boyfriend come through the door. He comes through the door. And I was like, this nigga, he's supposed to be at work. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I should have known like this was not going to be a good idea because like how the day was. And when you pay attention to signs and you pay attention to the universe and you pay attention to stuff like that, it'll make it crystal clear like this is not a good idea. This is not going to end well. You just have to really pay attention unless you just don't give a damn. And at that time, I just didn't give a damn. And I wasn't mature enough to realize like, so he comes in while I'm in the shower and he's kind of like looking at me and he's asking me questions, obviously being suspicious, rightfully so, because if I came home in the middle of the day and my nigga was like taking a shower, I would kind of have questions too. I was like, well, why are you taking a shower in the middle of a day kind of a thing? Um, and I was just kind of like, I don't know what the excuse I gave him. I don't remember the excuse I gave him. I'm sure once he sees this video, he'll remind me because, he's kind of one of them people who don't like to, I mean, be cool now. But, he one of them people at the time that didn't like to reveal that his shit also was stinking. He walks away. I'm still taking a shower. Like, I'm not thinking, like, I'm about to get caught up. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't thinking I was going to get caught up. And he picks up my phone and he sees the messages between me and the guy. Like, this is where the story gets wild. It gets wild. So he comes in and he shows me the phone and I don't know what he says, but, he's cussing me out. Um, in shock, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Nobody wants to see the person that they're with being in kind of cahoots and comfortable with another person. Nobody, that's not a good feeling. It's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling. Um, and I'm not excusing it, but like I said in the beginning, I was just letting you know why. And probably like the stress of being in a relationship and like, the finances were kind of, at the same time, because we are both 20 and irresponsible, so the finances were terrible. It was very layered. And maybe I'll come back to that at the end of the video. But there was other stuff that happened as well. It wasn't just like, oh, you got fat. Let me go. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. I should have elaborated more. But it's all coming back to me now that I'm actually talking about it for the first time. This is where it gets really, really wild. Because he takes my phone, and of course, me being shocked. Like, I don't want, him to see the messages. Even though he already saw it, but give me my phone back kind of a thing. And what they say when a person go crazy over their phone, and even when they start looking through your phone and stuff, typically it's like a bit of a projection of what they're doing or what they have done. It's typically how it works. So he takes my phone and he runs out the house because we were staying in a duplex. So he runs out. And my dumbass, I get out and I'm butt ass naked. It was nighttime now at this point. The sun had not gone down. The sun had already went down. I run out after him. I'm butt naked. butt nakedness or nah. Like I'm butt naked and I'm out in the middle of the road fighting with this nigga who is like a giant compared to me because I'm only 5'5". So if I'm 5'5", I think he's like maybe 5'11", 5'10", something like that. And I'm trying to like, I'm pretty much like jumping like a little puppy. Give me my phone, give me my phone. And he's like, no, and he's looking at the messages. It's hilarious. But I was really like thinking like I really did that. And I wonder if any neighbor saw it. I know neighbors saw it, like because we lived around a bunch of duplexes. So I know somebody heard the commotion, was like, look at this nigga butt ass naked outside. It's just it's pure comedy at this point. Right, so we go back on the inside or whatever. We're arguing, and he's calling me some names, rightfully so. Okay, he's calling me some names, and that's okay. We even start fighting physically. We start fighting physically, and was that the same night? It's crazy that we had that many blow-ups to where like it came to physical blows. We've had a few. We not we because we're not together, but we had a few where we were fighting each other. Just terrible. Just terrible. Obviously, I wasn't going to win that fight. However, but yeah, that was kind of like my story of like what happened that particular day, and we ended up staying together because we ended up moving to Texas together after that. So we stayed together. I would say the relationship was never the same. It was never the same. Um, but I say that to say, when you're dating, especially when you're young and you're dating, I'm not excusing cheating, but I do think it's important in the beginning to have like an honest conversation. So I remember I said I was going to touch on some things like that I didn't mention, like why I did it. Like I said, it was kind of like the weight gain thing. He's doing really good for himself now. He's in shape. He got it together. It was the finances situation, and also like I had seen some things about him that was questionable. There were guys that were coming to me saying, well, he was saying certain things about other people, and of course, of course, niggas gonna deny, I didn't say that, I didn't do that. So these people are just making up lies on you. You know what I'm saying? Like lies typically just don't come out of nowhere. There's always some kind of ounce of truth in every lie, and it's just up to you to like kind of uncover what it is. Sometimes you have to really back people into a corner before they tell you exactly what it is, because like I said, it's not 100% like a made up lie. It's something in there happened. So I do think he was talking to other guys, but yeah, we stayed together for a year after that, and we ended up moving to Dallas, Texas together. That was a whole nother set of problems and stuff. I ended up being, well, I've dealt with being homeless a few times. I would say like I've done it a few times, and it's not fun sleeping in your car. That's another set of problems. So I'll talk about the homeless days and era in another video. But yeah, that was my experience when I cheated. When I cheated on my boyfriend, being young and thinking with hormones. But yeah, I say that to say, when y'all are getting to know people, keep an eye out for those ones who are in these long term relationships and they don't. And you ask them like, well, why did you do this? And they don't have anything bad to say about them. It's always the other person, because that's typically someone who is not willing to let go of their ego and be villainized. And it's not about being seen as perfect. It's about wanting to do better. You know what I'm saying? It's about wanting to do better, and it's about wanting to grow. But you can't grow if you're not willing to call out your sins, and you're not willing to call out the wrong that you've done. And that's why I don't have a problem talking about it, about anything, because I have regret, but I don't have any shame. I have regret about things that I've done, things that I've allowed, and things that but I don't have any shame, because those that's who I was in that moment, and that's who I was in that moment, and I desire to do better even to this day, as I still make mistakes, as I'm still trying to figure this out. But anyways, that was my story. That was my song. That's all that I'm going to talk about for this video. If you have any questions, if you enjoyed this, definitely give me a comment and subscribe. Give me a comment and subscribe. And if you want to hear more about that story, maybe I can do a follow-up of like how things were after that, more in depth. But yeah. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a lovely, lovely night. I'm checking out.